private schools and languages. Now, a little bit more about the private schools because of the emphasis they are given in terms of providing a higher quality of education as compared to that in the government schools. So they are seen as a role model, and constantly through the reports we talk about how the private schools, even the low-fee private schools, are performing better in terms of learning outcomes as compared to the government schools. So we said, yes, there was a lot of devaluation of the local languages, that is, the linguistic capital that different sections of this multilingual context the students brought to the school was degraded. Degraded in the sense they were not allowed to use it, they were not allowed to talk about it, and there was hardly ever any discussion about the linguistic diversity and about the importance of this linguistic diversity. So languages like Urdu and Sindhi, even when they were taught, the students were not asked to use it. So rather, they were asked not to use it outside the classroom space in which these languages were learned. And this results in their learning of Sindhi, but not being able to learn it enough so that they can use it for communicative purposes. In any case, all of them have to pass a Sindhi exam if they are in Sindh, for instance. So all those matriculating from Sindhi board have to pass a Sindhi language paper, and they often do if they are coming from the private schools especially. Now, students over here did recall being punished. So over here, I would like to give you another example of a girl who was studying in class 7, and she remembered and recalled how during her class, when they were all talking in Urdu, the teacher in Urdu herself asked her or reminded her to speak only in English. The girl tried to speak in English to the friend, but in the heat of the discussion, she again switched to Urdu. Now, what this teacher did was drag this girl studying in class 7, and she shut her up in a toilet. And then she left her there for 15 minutes. And this girl recalls the high shame and embarrassment that she felt because of being locked at this tender age. Later on, her parents were called by the principal, and they were told how the girl does not listen and she has always to speak in English, and that is why she was punished. Now, despite throughout this narration, she talks about the shame, the embarrassment, and this unspeakable sense of like being shamed in front of everybody else. She evaluates this incident as, even when I see this teacher, I remember how important English is. So this is the lesson that she learned. She did not feel humiliation. She felt like she fully deserved it because she was not speaking in English, and this teacher was like the best teacher ever because she somehow reminded her how important was English language. Now, this was an interview from a girl who was now in higher education. So when we talked about the case of Farhan also, and when he talked about this friend who was forced to speak in English and how everybody laughed at him, he also interestingly evaluated it, that is, thinking about the incident. He said, we should all be forced to speak in English, and we should be punished if we do not speak in English. So it is completely incomprehensible if you don't take in this context of the ideologies within which the school is located, that why should students somehow support this, the way they are being treated, and this is humiliating way they are being treated just for not speaking a language, and not speaking it because simply they do not know it and they're still in the phase of learning it. Yet they condone the behavior of the teachers, and they want even more to be punished so that they are forced to speak in English, because they feel in any way possible they must learn it and practice it. So local languages in this kind of context become a deficit, a sense of shame. So if you're speaking in Punjabi, you'll hide your Punjabi. You don't want to put in even a word of Punjabi, because if you speak a little bit of it or even use a word from it, you will be called which is commonly called a Pendu in this school, which is, although Punjabi is nothing but just a language. And it's a legitimate language with lots of literature in it.